IVM.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Paytm Money. So we had a really interesting week on the network. Definitely check out some of the shows that came out there. We had interesting episodes on Cyrus Says, Advertising is Dead, Filter Coffee Podcast, Agla Station Adulthood, Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Pesa Vesa. All of these shows had some really, really cool guests on, and there were some really good episodes out there. Do check them out. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
Hello and welcome to Simplified. This is not the live episode. This is just Chuck giving an intro to the live episode so you guys know what to expect. On 8th of May 2020, we did a live episode on Zoom where we invited some of our fans to give in their predictions. We gave our own predictions in terms of what would happen in a post-coronavirus world. And we took turns guessing why that would happen. We had a lot of fun. It was a long episode, so we split it over 2 episodes. One which you are listening to right now and one that's going to come out next week. This was made for Zoom, so if there are some lags or, there are some references that are missed out, we sincerely apologize. If you would like to watch the video of this, it will be shared on the IVM Facebook page or, on our social handles, etc. You know where to find us. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this quite chaotic but very, very enjoyable Simplified episode. This is Simplified Live, episode 177, part 1. Enjoy. So hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Simplified, which is a live episode. The first time we are doing this on Facebook. Is everybody excited? And by everybody I mean the 4 panelists, of course.
This is, I would never have imagined that we would be having so many panelists at the same time and controlling who is speaking when and feeling good about ourselves. This is like us following in the footsteps of Arnab Goswami.
Yeah. I'm very tempted. There is a little tiger inside me which wants the nation wants to know.
Calm down.
I'm really, yeah.
Okay, people are asking for a guitar solo and all, so I'm going to now ignore the comments. Hey, Ashmita is here. Ashmita is one of our oldest fans.
Hey, Ashmita.
Listening for a long time. If you remember, people who were there for the actual live episode. We had actually put out like, what did we put out? Wish you were here, Ashmita, or something.
Yeah, wish you were here.
Yeah. Chuck's internet connection is a dial-up, and somebody else says Chuck seems to be on a connection from Naren's time. Naren, counter that. Nation wants to know.
My time, internet wasn't invented. Yeah.
Wasn't? When was the internet invented? Is it 1962 or something? No, surely. Oh, wait. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Let's start. Okay, guys, welcome. Will you end this episode with an Irish drinking song? Peter, that's a good question. We actually wanted to do an Irish drinking song. And I swear, Shrikeet and I had written up 2 really good. We practiced and we realized the lag. Yeah, this lag. I'm on dial-up connection. Like Shrikeet is 100 Mbps. So
most importantly, there's no drinking involved at all. So. Oh my God! Our first math troll has come in. Yeah. Water for the show is actually sponsored by Sula.
Yeah.
Super. Tony, did you finish the Tintin jigsaw puzzle?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chuck.
Tony looks like a fellow who's just started his 12-hour call center shift.
Okay, guys, I think we should start. Okay. We're getting to
we should start. Yeah, we should start. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, people are saying it's boring and all, so we should start. Okay. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
One of you guys tell me. The slide of mine. Yes, we have a presentation. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys had come for the actual live episode that we did, the 100th episode, which was in 2008. 2018,
yeah.
18.
Yeah, mid 2018. Naren is the guy who remembers. Okay, so we will welcome everybody. We will take you on a little history of Simplified for about 5 minutes before we get started with predictions for a post-coronavirus world. We have some interesting predictions that all of us have given each other, and we also have some questions that you guys have sent. Thank you for that. For now, we are not making any more predictions on chat because there's just way too. So let's jump right into this. This is how Simplified started. A friend of mine called Advait. Some of you in chat might know who this gentleman is. By the way, I am on a slightly dodgy internet connection, so if at any point of time something happens, please forgive, and the others will fill in the void. So Advait was a friend of mine, is a friend of mine rather, and he and I had this idea for a podcast, which was supposed to be based on indie music, and he said he'll produce it and everything. But then something happened, and we never ended up doing it. And I pinged Naren and said, "Hey, listen, let's do a few podcasts." And I have this friend of mine called Advait who can produce it. So this is what happened. And number 1 and number 2 over here combined really is what ended up being Simplified. Actually, even interviewing guests, right? Like all 3 of these things together. General recap of week, Chuck and Naren. General recap of week is something that Tony and I do on a separate thing called The Third Strip. It's a newsletter, but we will plug that liberally later.
How obscure Simplified was going to become is that of all the things to simplify in the world, the second thing that you thought of was Kirchhoff's laws.
This is true.
Kirchhoff's laws, if you think about it, is actually current affairs.
It's starting to connect now
only. Tony, are you sure that's water that you have? Okay. By the way, 1 second. Let me just. One of you guys also please record this in case something happens to my connection. Then okay. Okay. So this is what happened, and finally, then Advait was supposed to produce the show. Naren and I, we had ideas and stuff, and we, did a sample and stuff. And then something happened. Advait felt sick or something, and he couldn't do it. So then I decided to do it myself on Audacity. And I had a friend of mine called Gaurav who actually wrote the theme song. So Gaurav is a batchmate of mine from Micah, but he's also a very accomplished musician. And now he actually does music for Hindi films and things like that. So he's gotten bigger and bigger. So I will always hold this against him. Remember, in 2015, you sent me this, so we can always just imagine, like A.R. Rahman would have made something, for his batchmates or something. Yeah. Like I'm doing a TV show or something. Yeah. So anyway, Gaurav is the guy who made our theme song. So this forchuck.mp3 was supposed to be temporary, but here we are 5 years later still doing using the same damn thing because we've been too lazy to change it. And this is it, July 15th, 2015, the first ever post that we did. Episode 1 was Kiss My Tsipras. Tsipras was that Greek
minister,
we were
finance minister.
The Greek crisis with guest visits by luminaries like Arindam Chaudhary, Rahul Yadav, and Lalit Modi. Arindam Chaudhary used to be relevant when Simplified started. This is how
Rahul Yadav.
Yeah. Wow, it's been 5 years now. Naren, well done. Let's do a virtual high five.
Yes, high five.
Yeah, well, the rest of you will come. So here's Divya saying that Deepak and husbandman and the person he will hopefully turn into in 15 years. What I now realize is I am 1/3 the way there. 5 years ago, so we're like, catching up to do. And then my brother Suraj, he made the first logo and design, etc. So right now it feels like I'm taking you guys to a corporate brochure. So now we will get into what people say about Simplified. Here is Mayur Narasimha saying that. So Naren's voice won a lot of fans over, especially from somebody who said that you resemble his dentist. Naren and I were.
Do you remember when dentists were a thing?
It's like another.
What I wouldn't do for a root canal, right? So we were very, very
like the Mesozoic, Paleozoic, and all. There'll be one Dentozoic era, like the era when they were dentists.
Yeah.
That's an incisive insight. Okay. Naren and I were not exactly very regular with respect to episodes. This is how the first 7, these are the dates for the first 7 episodes, as you can see. And at that point of time, if you look through our WhatsApp, this is basically what is like podcast. Okay, let's do the podcast. Okay, next, I'm back from vacation. Let's do podcast. So it was like very all over the place. And then something happened. May Thomas, who now runs, of course, Made in India, she was at IBM at the time, and then she called me and said, we want to get you on the network. And we obviously couldn't believe it. We then said we need to raise our act a couple of notches, and we did. We exactly raised it exactly a couple of notches.
Yeah, the 2 notches are myself and Tony.
Sure. Then, of course, Shriketh once told me that he wants to come and ramble on Simplified. Sorry, this is public shaming for everybody.
Wow.
Oh my God, I don't know. He's like literally pulled all the transcripts.
Yeah, hey, shut up. This thing I showed during the live episode also. So
I know.
I
was hoping that was a one-time thing.
Oh, no. This is now going to be a recurring thing for every episode. For every live episode that we do. So anyway, so Shriketh then came. So after he came as a guest talking about Wikipedia, he then said, hey, this seems like a nice thing. So let's get him on full-time. So that was full-time as if we are offering employment. Like we said, then what happened was we had a good run. And then we've actually been overwhelmed by a lot of positive feedback from you guys. Then Tony, of course, joining later. We don't have a WhatsApp transcript for that because that was a decision that was made in the studio, Tony, if you remember. Yeah. We came on from one of the year-end episodes and we said, hey, this chemistry is going really, really well, so let's do 4. And now
this is the couple of episodes that we recorded when I had come back from Malaysia.
Yeah. So essentially, how it is basically Simplified will always have one person more than an average cricket commentary panel. So initially it used to be like 2 commentators, then you guys had 3 hosts, then 3 commentators, now we have 4. Yeah, so whenever cricket resumes and they go to 4 commentators, we'll have one more slot open.
Amazing. And just like cricket commentary, we also tend to be a bit of a sausage fest, unfortunately. So now the joke is what we need. We need just 46 more hosts, and we'll have to give mandatory PF to everybody. That's the mini story of Simplified, and we've been overwhelmed really by the feedback. When Naren and I started this, we genuinely thought that it would just be the 2 of us listening to this, and the only way to increase listenership was to actually get more and more hosts on the show. But every week we keep getting surprised because people end up listening to us. People send us feedback like this, and we were once in the papers. We were also in the papers today because of this very live. We are even on Reddit. If you search for Simplified on Reddit,
this is the greatest accomplishment. Everything else can be like. Anyone can get on it.
We're basically making a pitch to people who've already bought into the premise of Simplified.
An IPO presentation.
Now we'll introduce a loyalty program.
Oh, what a great idea. I don't know. I hope people identify themselves, actually. I actually picked up. Let's see. No, the craziest thing was when somebody wrote into us saying that they listened to Simplified and then wrote their exams, and we helped them. Okay,
that was an emotional moment.
That was emotional. I mean, what emotion? I'm not quite sure.
Different ways, yes.
I'm not quite sure what emotion. So, a couple of things. One, please do not listen to Simplified while you are. If you are supposed to be studying, then otherwise you can listen. People are
subject to market risk.
I thought you were saying when you're driving or something, which is also
here's a driving. Here's somebody listening to episode 72. This is one of the happiest photos that I have.
Because remember driving.
Because no, I don't actually. I don't know how to drive. And one person actually even pinged me saying that when I said that this thing was RSVP'd out, somebody said, and I thought I'm the only one listener who you keep mentioning. So Yeah, that's that. I think that's it. Okay, enough.
Is that Tony's car?
Let's talk about.
Yeah, Madan's giving actual insider info.
That was Tony's car.
Okay, I'm going to stop this screen sharing thing and talk about the format. So there are 4 of us. Each of us are going to give one prediction. Not one, right? We have some 3-4 predictions each, and guess why that's going to happen. So I'll tell you the genesis for this. The last episode, the one that came out this weekend. Let's see.
Ashmita is asking if he'll get the slides after the presentation for reference.
Oh no, Chuck's frozen again.
Oh god.
Chuck is frozen, yeah.
Hello.
So, okay, the background for this is that, we've been, like everyone else, we've been inundated with predictions, right? Everybody and his uncle wants to predict things about Corona and its aftermath. And everyone does no shit Sherlock prediction, right? Everyone says, airlines are going to go out of business. Yeah, seriously. Travel industry go, okay, so insightful. And we thought, what the hell? We need to go out and find the most ridiculous but insightful, deep prediction we could find. And we've really sifted through them. We've found stupid ones, and they've been rejected for not being stupid enough.
Yeah.
So
we've done reverse filtration actually.
Yeah.
The good ones we've thrown out.
Yeah. All the sensible ones.
Points. You can hear me, right, guys?
Yeah.
No, you are frozen. Yeah, you are out. Yeah. So I just introduced the concept. I just introduced. I told everyone why we were doing this, because we were sick of listening to sensible predictions from everyone and how airline industry is going.
Yeah, man, and everything just goes back to the same thing. So we thought we'd make this absurd. So let's take this slide. I'm going to end that presentation of mine. We will start with so some of you guys have sent in your predictions as well. Thank you very much for those. We will read them out. If you want us to, so I'll when we get there, we will ask if that person's around. If you're there, just ping me. I will make you live, so you can ask your question in real time. All right, let's start with, firstly, Naren said turtleneck shirts will become popular. And Naren, before you explain that, I think the rest of us should try and take a stab at that.
Try to figure out,
Yeah. Okay, so why I think that's going to happen is, the ideal laptop angle I read is between 90 degrees and 120 degrees. It is something like this, right? Now, 90 degrees is pretty crap, right? When you're working, because because you're going to be seeing only the chest, and 120 is good for viewing, but then the camera will point to the ceiling, right? So the ideal angle to be seen by the camera is somewhere in between, 110 or something. So
you're really deliberately being obtuse. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
I hope somebody's keeping score. Okay, like I was saying, so somewhere in between, but you'll still need to strain your neck like this. And then over a period of time, around 3 million years, humans will then develop longer necks. And for longer necks, turtlenecks are the best. So that's my logic.
Yeah.
I will now finish out a long time.
Excellent.
So I think a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And what is the one way to get back jobs? Wear a turtleneck. Steve Jobs reference. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you now it's no longer enough to have a MacBook to appear creative, right? You have to wear a turtleneck and stand out. Yeah. Go ahead, Srikit. Sorry.
Well,
I like how Shehzad is actually keeping score. Stop it. Stop it, Shehzad.
No, don't stop it. I am winning. Keep score.
So, I mean, my answer was something linked to what Chuck was saying. I mean, very simply, there's going to be a huge amount of... See, the reason why I feel turtlenecks will be in vogue, of course, it's because it kind of hides your neck, but I'm also going to correlate that with, because work from home will become so prevalent that people will also, baths will become like much more optional, which will mean people will have a lot more filth all over them, and they will want to cover as much skin as possible. So even necks will have like problems. So therefore, you cover as much as you can, and only face should have any kind of exposure. So that's why turtlenecks. Like you don't even allow any of your neck to come there. The other thing is, it's probably going to be more popular among Punjabi men because chest hair will start migrating upwards. So there's no turtleneck to kind of keep it down.
Why Punjabi man? I've seen a lot of non-Punjabi people also.
So, but Naren, what is the real reason?
Yeah, so this
actual
happened,
answer, and somebody asked why I have gone mute. That's because never. Naren, guess the actual answer, please. Put us out of misery.
So, here around where I live, there were cops going around, and they were like sort of yelling at people who hadn't masks on. So people who didn't have masks, they were going. And so one champ was wearing a normal t-shirt. He immediately pulled that t-shirt on over his ears. And he was walking. Very smooth moment. He's walking. He sees a policeman in front of him, shout at someone, berate someone for not wearing a mask. So he quietly puts his t-shirt right up now. The policeman, it was very hilarious. The policeman couldn't stop laughing, and he went on. So I thought turtlenecks are made for this. You just you have a turtleneck, you just pull it over your mouth and just keep going about your business.
Oh, by the way, Bugle represent.
Yeah, so someone in the Q&A has asked us if we follow the Caustic Soda podcast for inspiration. I personally don't, but I think the Bugle is one of our Bugle, and generally John Oliver from the inception has been our inspiration.
Oh, if you're asking me whether I heard that podcast, my answer is no. N-A-O-H.
Oh. Well done.
Chemical engineering degree shows or something. All right.
Fabulous. Smart guys, come on.
Yeah, Tony 27. Okay, cool. Okay, next is my prediction for you guys. The front doors, all right, the front doors of fridges in households will be more empty. Will get sparse.
Oh.
So this is okay. Tony, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Unfortunately, I tried to think about the longer connect of this idea, but the obvious connect is quite relevant over here. Is that of course it's going to be that people are going to travel a lot less, and so you don't have fridge magnets from a lot of places.
All right.
And that's where the fridge magnets are going to go, and the fridge magnets will disappear, and that's where front doors of fridges will be a lot emptier.
Fair enough. Okay.
Oh, wait, you meant outside or inside?
Outside.
but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, my answer for inside was, how like you always order pizza and there's like 10,000 packets of oregano and chili flakes that just go on to the top shelf of the fridge. But like as things become scarce, you add whatever ingredients in. Like how many days can you have the same Maggi with the same Maggi masala? So you add like your oregano and chili flakes, and so it empties out the top shelf. But irrelevant answer.
But a funny one nonetheless.
My theory is that in the lockdown, one of the biggest pastimes for all people is going and opening the front door of the refrigerator. Like you do that twice a day in normal times, you do it maybe 25 times a day. So your pectoral muscles and your back muscles and your scapula or whatever, that latissimus dorsi are all highly developed. So by the time you sort of, a few months into the lockdown, every time you open the refrigerator door, it will be at an increasing velocity. And so it is hinged at one point. So this will give a centrifugal force to the magnets sticking to the door. So sooner or later, all the magnets will fly out from the door and fall down. So you will put them on the side. So all the magnets on the front of the door, on the refrigerator door, will go to the side. That is mine.
Wow. That is insane.
Sriket, do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that Silicon Valley scene.
Yeah.
People who need to know, know.
Yes.
So,
Ashwin is saying I am speechless.
So 10 minutes before the call, no, 10 minutes before. So for everybody who's attending, so Naren and I came on about 20 minutes before in order to test our audio and stuff like that. And I asked Naren, have you prepared like the answers? He said, no, not really. I said, perfect. Okay. Here is the actual correct answer. This has to do with 3D printing.
3D printing.
3D printing, yes.
Yeah.
3D printing, yes. 3-dimensional printing. All right. So currently, as there is a lot of action in the 3D printing space to tackle various coronavirus problems, right? You've seen that Italian company, for example, that makes valves so that a scuba diving mask can be retrofitted into a ventilator and things like that. There are guys who are using their existing 3D printers, and they are acquiring 3D printers in order to make ventilators, PPEs, and all sorts of things. I saw this really cool model where instead of opening the door, right, they have created like this little handle where you just put your hand like this and you open the door like this.
Oh.
So the people are coming out with various interesting models now for using 3D printers. Now, eventually, in about 5-6 years' time, when all this is well behind us, there'll be a lot of 3D printers that these companies don't need, and they will be looking to give them away. They will most likely give them away to educational institutes. So now educational institutes will use these for instruction. Currently, 3D printers are not being used in education institutes because they're expensive. So what's going to happen is your drawing classes will be replaced by 3D printing classes. So kids will make like 3D models and they'll come and show that to parents. See, this is what I made instead of drawing. So the front door of fridges, which is normally where drawing will be replaced by 3D printed models, which will now be on the mantle shelf. The mantle shelf will be the new fridge thing. And 100 points to Shehzad, who actually kind of got that right by saying kids are not going to go to school anymore, so they're going to have less fridge art. Correct, but the connect wasn't as easy as that.
Wow.
So there.
Fabulous. Yeah. Very, very, very.
Hey, just because he's keeping score and all, you can't like.
Point.
Hey, good, very good answer, Shehzad. Beautiful.
Okay.
Next time, remember.
Okay. The next goes to. I'm not showing the screen because I'm just going to read out from here. I actually have all the questions over here. I had like animated who is going to like.
Why are you not showing it on the screen, there?
Do you want me to show it on the screen?
Yeah, because I don't even remember my predictions.
Yeah. Everyone knows what we're talking about, what we're trying to predict. I think that will be nice. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But I thought it will end up being too much.
No, it's fine.
It's better than our faces for sure.
Okay, cool. Okay, go. Shriketh.
So this is my next prediction. Which was the next Nobel Prize in Physics. We go to a seismologist. So just for reference, simplifying the question even mildly here, seismologist is of course a person who predicts earthquakes and stuff like that. So why would that be? Go, whoever wants to start, guys.
Yeah, I have to stop sharing the screen because my answer is written somewhere else. Can you see my Google Chrome open by any chance?
No, we can't. It's just the frame is shared.
Very good. I'm new to the Zoom business.
Are you Googling?
No, I've written out answers in Google Docs, you idiot.
Amazing. No, we can't see anything. Go ahead.
Okay, seismologist. Of course, Naren, go for it.
So I think after something like COVID, only the very most earth-shaking discovery will merit a prize.
Oh, right? So,
very nice. Yeah. So who better to win the prize than someone who studies how the earth shakes?
I swear to God, Shehzad, you should give points to ridiculous answers, really. Like that gets extra points.
So if I may, my answer was kind of similar to that because I said everybody is making like earth-shattering predictions. There's going to be some seismologists who are actually pissed off saying, no, pedantically you're using it wrong and all that. So he'll actually feel inspired to make an actual prediction itself, and he'll make a discovery that prevents a massive earthquake. That is what. So, Shehzad, if you can split the points between. However, while researching for this answer, I came across a white paper, which is how are seismologists portrayed in popular culture. I'm not kidding you. And some of it reads brilliantly. I'm just going to read like a paragraph from there. In the little scene 1986, Just Between Friends, Ted Danson plays philandering seismologist Tom Davies from the California Seismological Center in Pasadena. A youthful Sam Watterson plays his seismology colleague, Harry. But most of the screen time goes to his wife, Holly, and her new best friend, Sandy, who, awkwardly for their friendship, has been having an affair with Tom. Tom comes home late and after this quake and starts getting frisky with Holly, who says, earthquakes always do this to you, don't they? They do. They always get me horny. Guess that's why I chose the field, huh? And then, the movie is bad, but not actually as bad as the dialogue implies. I can't say much more without giving away a major plot twist.
This is a real. This is a real movie.
Yeah, this is a real white paper.
Oh,
okay.
So I wanted to make a prediction. I think, but the answer. But I think Ajay has made it even better. And I think, so I was about to say that because, everyone will be at home and dense populations and all of that, like people will die if you don't get to know about earthquakes in time because you have to evacuate and all of that. But Ajay Sharma has given a better answer, which is that people would be waiting for an earthquake prediction for a chance to get out of their home. So I'll go with that.
Yeah, and Abhishek Madan, the troublemaker in chief, as always, has said it's because they will seize the day.
Hey, we can't even kick him out because he's hosting this, no?
Yeah, everyone say hi to Abhishek, who is actually working with Insider and has done a lot of work to help us get this show up and running. So thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Abhishek.
On that you do. Yeah.
Okay. So the
yes,
real
actual answer.
The real reason why this might be very true is that. I think one of the seismology institutes in France actually announced that because of the lockdowns around the world, the Earth has reduced the amount of vibration that it's getting. The overall Earth is vibrating a lot less. And what that's done is that it's made all the seismological instruments much more accurate, because finally they are able to get accurate readings about the Earth without the vibrations caused by man and man-made objects. So they are getting very much more accurate predictions, and what that will enable them to do is create better earthquake and tsunami prediction systems. So therefore, what this particular lockdown period might give a small window to seismologists to actually build new and improved prediction mechanisms, and that's why the next Nobel Prize in Physics may go to a seismologist.
Oh, nice.
Wow. That's an actual answer. Minus 10 points to you.
How did this get past the filter?
Yeah. because setting the filter. By the way, how do you describe that feeling when somebody sends you a link saying this is an exciting piece of news, and instead you are shown the same video of an earthquake over and over again? You get Richter rolled.
Oh,
nice.
So for the first time, I think Simplified listeners can ask, he has actually facepalmed.
Yeah. Okay, we go to the next one. The next prediction is by Tony, which is 1 rupee hand sanitizers will become prevalent.
Wow.
yeah. Go for it.
1 rupee hand sanitizers will become prevalent. Someone else wants to go first. I really haven't got an answer here. I'm going to go through the chat box and try and see if I can find something.
Okay. Firstly, I'm assuming that the logical answer is because it becomes the equivalent of change, like what this thing is, like chewing gum is right now. So you'll have more and more of these stocks. So instead of giving chewing gum away or Polo or whatever those things are, as 1 rupee for change, you give this. I thought that would be the logical answer, but apparently it's not, as stony-faced silence tells me. Okay, so I think, I was thinking, what is 1 rupee? Like, what does 1 rupee symbolize? And in India, it's seen as shagun or good luck. So maybe now in bettings, when you're giving 501 or 1001 rupees, you'll give the 500 rupee note and you'll give hand sanitizer along with that, because you have shaking so many people's hands and everything. So between, that's where my mind. Yeah.
Okay, I've my theory is that because of the the lack of demand and everything, we are going to see a big sort of deflation, right? Money is going to have more value, and so the 1 rupee coin will become very popular again. So popular, in fact, that one of your hands, like you have a left hand and a right hand, instead of that, one of them will be called the 1 rupee hand. And you will need to sanitize that 1 rupee hand. So, 1 rupee hand, sanitizer will become
Somebody's actually... go on.
No, my answer was somewhat linked to that, saying that since you need to sanitize both hands, and the world is anyway full of waste people, so that's why you'll need one sanitizer for each hand. Therefore, one rupee each for 2 rupees people.
Somebody's actually said, since you can't use your hand. One second, Tony, before you give the actual answer, somebody's actually said, since you can't use your hands anymore, demand for hands will go down. So hands will be cheaper. You cannot argue with economic logic, and will be sold for 1 rupee. And sanitizer is anyway prevalent, so nothing new there. So they've taken. So what they've done is 1 rupee hand and sanitizers. Instead of 1 rupee, hand sanitizers. So
very nice.
It's the old failing of the English language that they didn't include brackets.
I like how Chuck is berating someone for lack of logic. So that is titled Absurd Predictions. But
okay.
no, I mean, everyone's got part of it, right? So like one specific instance is where 1 rupee is most used is when people like have single sutta, right? So basically, instead of single, after that 17 rupees cigarette or whatever, you take 3 Center Freshes, whatever, right? And you chew the gum so that you'll smell fresh and all of that. Now, you replace that Center Fresh with sanitizer because A, you're wearing a mask, so no one can smell your breath. So chewing gum is not important. And B, you've touched a lighter or something, so you anyway want to sanitize your hands. So like, the chewing gum goes away and is replaced by sanitizer. But yeah, change basically.
Wow. Who said COVID will not bring about change? Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, cool.
Very awesome question.
Yeah. So that finishes one round. I hope everybody enjoyed that, because we're going to get about 3 more of these, but not before we get our audience involved as well. Some of you have sent in questions beforehand, predictions rather beforehand. So thank you so much for that. We will publicly name and shame you now. The first of which is the audience prediction by Utsav Mamoria. And just to say, the audience has not predicted Utsav Mamoria. Utsav Mamoria has given a prediction and is part of the audience. Let me see if Utsav is actually around. Utsav, paging Utsav.
He's in the chat. Yeah, I saw him there.
He is in the chat now.
Yes.
Allowed to talk. Yeah, allowed to talk. You have hi Utsav.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is the first question to ask on a Zoom call, right?
And everybody else gets to this. Because Utsav is slowly, he's like mild China in Northeast types, mildly, coming into, they're going to be mild, like, Utsav has appeared on the more times than Tony has. So, everybody be careful.
No, but I was about to say, on the slide, you should have called it predictions from nowhere.
Prediction.
Oh my God.
Nice.
So touched.
And by the way, for everybody, I'll just say, for everybody who listens to niche podcasts like us and not chart toppers like Utsav's, Utsav is the host of Postcards from Nowhere, a fantastic travel podcast. It is the second podcast that Simplified has birthed, the other one being The Seen and the Unseen. Yes, this is a true story. India's finest podcast is a result of the trash you're seeing in front of you right now. And India's finest. Anyway, Utsav is a very dear friend from my college days, and before I get too sentimental, I will now allow him to read his prediction out, which I will now put up on screen over here, which is a crazy one. So, Utsav, take us.
Yes. Okay. The 2014 Indian action thriller film Gunde, not to be confused with Kanti Shah's Gunda, which became infamous after Bangladeshis heavily downvoting it on IMDb, will see a resurgence in viewership and popularity. I think this is a bit too intellectual. So
And you say this is a result of COVID, is it?
Yes, it's a result of COVID. This is the fifth order effect.
Wow. A nice reference for you Ken fans as well.
Yes, beyond the second order.
I actually thought it was Sunday. I didn't know Good Movie was a day. I'm sorry. I'm completely out of this.
So, okay, I assume that India and Bangladesh will become good friends, and then the guys who downvoted will see the error of their ways, and they will upvote it on IMDb, because of which it will go up and it will become trending and people will start watching. It's a terrible answer. My Bollywood knowledge is pretty bad.
It has nothing to do with Bollywood, Chuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So with this, what I'm feeling here is that for Gunde specifically, is there something about the fact that there is... No, I'm completely lost here, guys. Anyone else? Anyone has any...
Yeah, I know. I sort of remember.
I have not watched Gunde, so unfortunately...
The reason it was downvoted, or reason the Bangladeshis are upset, was it showed it... one of the things was they showed Bangladeshis as people who pretended to be Indians or something. That's what I remember. Mm-hmm. And these people were like, that couldn't be further from the truth, and they found that very offensive for some reason.
Okay.
So
now we have all drawn a blank.
No, I'll
Tony's left.
I'll take a random stab. So basically, people will run out of content to watch eventually, and how people normally watch is by looking at IMDb ratings and all of that. But at some point, someone will create a cross reference of IMDb versus Rotten Tomatoes to say which are the, or you sort from below on IMDb and you start watching, and therefore Gunde will see a resurgence.
Oh my God.
I just want to remind Tony, this is not Seen in the Unseen. This is Simplified. Thank God Amit Verma is not here. He would have seen himself.
I think this is we have some fabulous answers in the chat box. One of the best I can see is Bangladeshis are good at making clothes. Their clothes are all over the world, but due to COVID, clothes are not bought as much more, making Bangladeshis freer to appreciate Gunde more, which I think is one of the finest answers ever.
Utsav, do you want to?
I just want to say that I'm thoroughly proud and embarrassed at this answer. So now, after COVID, some organizations will realize that, people don't need to be in office all the time. So office space is going to get utilized less, essentially meaning electricity is going to get utilized less. And we depend very largely on thermal power. So use of coal is going to be less. Right, essentially means that the mining towns of India will have less employment because there will be less coal needs to be mined. Now, all those people who would go out of jobs, right, will of course have a lot of free time, and to feel some sort of nostalgia towards their life, they would watch Gunde because that film is set in a mining town. Yeah, I'm very...
We didn't know the mining part. No, but this is how a prediction should actually be. We should have started with this.
Oh my God. That is incredible.
The Bangladeshi thing was just to throw everyone off, actually. It's a classic maneuver to throw people off.
Classic maneuver.
I don't think you need to throw us off. I think you could have just written Gunde over there and we would have been thrown off.
Okay. It's a minor point, It's a minor point.
Well done. Salvaging something.
Utsav, I am now going to kick you out.
Oh God! I don't know.
I don't know how to. Shriket, you're the Zoom expert. Do I do remove?
No. Just remove his attendee privileges. Sorry.
Disable talking. Done.
Disable talking.
Yeah, done.
That's all.
Okay, done. Oh, you can do shit like that. Huh? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, next audience prediction. Let's see if he is around Srinivasan Mohan. Are you around Srinivasan Mohan? Paging Srinivasan Mohan. This is a damn interesting one. And is he around? Please say hi if you are. Chuck being Naren. Naren, people think that you're technologically challenged. Can you please put this to... you're the only guy here with AirPods. So can you please put this... just because Naren is...
Shows everyone how tech challenged I am.
No, I don't think Srinivasan's here.
Srinivasan's not here, so let's try and have a little bit. So proctologist visits will become a more common occurrence thanks to COVID. Should we just try and take a stab at this anyway?
No, but we won't have the answer, no?
We won't have the answer, but that can be revealed on like a future episode.
Like that?
I have...
Hey, why
be careful about where you take the stab.
Everyone's gone on mute.
Proctologist should be.
I can't hear.
Naren, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Naren, just when I said Naren.
Naren's taken the Naren title back from Chuck now.
Okay. Anyone wants to take anyone wants to...
No, I think we should skip past this. And
we should skip past that.
If Srinivasan comes later, then we'll...
okay, cool.
Revisit this again.
Okay. Oh, we have Shehzad.
Shehzad.
Of course, Shehzad. Yeah, this I had to. Okay. Okay, Sriket, you're officially in charge of getting people.
Right, let me just try and get Shehzad.
Done.
Yeah.
I also realized it's going to be a damn random episode for anyone who's listening. Hey, Shehzad.
Hello.
Hey, wow, this is what you sound like.
Hey. Great.
Awesome. Yes, you may. 1 second.
Chuck, you have to bring up the prediction.
Yeah.
Yes, here we go. This is...
Oh, my God.
Due to COVID, there will be an increased demand of high-tech diuretics. Now, my mistake was I actually, so Shehzad actually sent not just this, but the answer also. So I have seen the answer, and I must say it is
you
quite
are
imaginative.
officially disqualified already.
No, let me try to think of another answer. By the way, if anyone in the audience wants to try and take a guess, please go ahead.
This is, I can think of a logical reason for this.
No, go for it. Trust me, I've seen the answer.
But, very, very simply, diuretics are something that basically it's like loose motion stuff, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Number one.
Yeah, but
Diuretic is for number one.
Yeah, so but the reason
it's when you're in trouble.
Yeah, so people are going to step out a lot less. That means they are going to perspire a lot less, and therefore they are not going to be expelling as much liquid, and they might not be even consuming as much liquid. So,
Hey, what?
I think the diuretics have worked. Because of which they might require. I think people will start peeing a lot less also because of that, because consumption of water is a lot less and stuff like that. So, therefore, diuretics will be required to kind of go wee-wee.
Go wee-wee. Tony, do you want to...
I have no answers. This is not the kind of streaming that I thought will reduce in
So we can't beat that. So Shehzad, please.
Yes.
Please give us the.
So I feel that due to the COVID, many airlines will lay off air pilots and air staff, and causing them to search for different careers due to their prior experience and obsessive focus on flying. This will make them focus on space rather than terrestrial flights, where the investments will go down. So, which will lead to major breakthrough in interplanetary travel, causing us to colonize Mars or Moon, or which will in turn foster the need of growth of potatoes by hydroponic methods. And knowing that they need poop for fertilization, it will lead to the development of drugs that will make colonizers poop more and have more nutrients in them. which in turn gives us more food for return.
Superb, man. Well done.
I think
Jack,
awesome.
I think we are going to birth quite a few more podcasts today. The audience is way better than what we are coming up with. Superb, Shehzad.
Superb.
Thank you for that, for drawing a direct connect between Alu and Alu.
Fabulous.
Very bad by all involved. Thank you very much, Shehzad. Thank you. Say bye. Okay, cool. I think we should now get back. Okay, cool. Naren, let's get back to Maggi will come out with 2-hour noodles. Okay, I will share my answer first because I have them.
Hey, you have to search for them.
Yeah, it's all in a document. Okay. It's of course important to understand the history of Maggi noodles over here, which you can do on episode 10 of my podcast, The Origin of Things, where Julius Maggi, a Swiss chemist, made flour out of pulses in the 1880s. And his mission was he wanted something that's nourishing, inexpensive, and easy to make. Now, because of COVID, a few things have happened. Husbands think that they are amazing chefs. So as a result of which, wives are getting frustrated because we'll do things like make 2-minute Maggi noodles and say, look, I'm like Michelin star chef for making Maggi noodles. So the demand for difficult to make foods will actually increase. So it will be nourishing, it will still be inexpensive, but it will now be difficult to make. So hence 2-minute noodles will become 2-hour noodles.
No, I don't buy it. No, I mean, then like if the intent is to make it tougher, then you'll make something more difficult. No, like you won't make Maggi and say I made Maggi in 2 hours. You'll make like pizza from scratch or something.
Okay, so you found a logical flaw in
your written down answer. I'm sorry. No, but this is, basically to waste time, but also this is famous Maggi thing, no? When it was first introduced, like mothers were feeling very guilty because like it was very easy to make you bung in everything together and boil it. So that's why apparently, this is something that I've heard, that Maggi started introducing a recipe behind its cover. To say, first take 210 ml of water, then boil it.
210 ml of water. Everyone knows 210 ml of water now.
210 ml of water, yeah, of course. It's a Maggi cup. Yeah, but basically people will have no jobs and nothing else to do, no disposable income, and not enough money. So like Maggi is the one thing they can afford, and like it is something that is easy to make. But if it takes 2 hours, even better. So it consumes more of your time for less money.
Yeah, that was pretty much what. Shrikesh, did you have any other?
No. So my prediction is that the CEO of Nestle, Urs Schneider, will at this point gain a new hobby of watching a lot of nature videos on YouTube because he's at home all the time. So because he's watching a lot of nature videos, he develops a fascination for watching like videos of whales swimming around, whales swimming around and all that stuff. And he becomes obsessed, so much so that he gets obsessed with it. He gets so obsessed with it that he now starts collecting and investing in anything that is linked to whales. All right. So much so that he even falls in love with the country whales. All right.
Whales.
And he buys Wikipedia.
Yeah. So
and he buys Wikipedia, by the way.
So then what happens is because he falls in love with the country of Wales as well, he has to fall in love with its most famous poet, who is W.H. Davies. And because of which, he decides to imbibe his most famous poem's credo into all of his products, which is the poem Leisure.
Stand and stare.
And the line, what is this life if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare, which is why the Maggi is now made as 2-hour noodles because it requires you to have time to stand and stare.
Well played.
Naren, how close was this to the actual answer?
Yeah, no, this was pretty
just
much
about.
the same. Yeah,
just about.
Yeah. It's people. People want to be busy and yet not do any work. So we see all this, including.
So almost there. Shriket's answer was almost there.
Yeah.
Okay. Shriket, well done. How much time did you spend on that, by the way?
I literally looked it up right now.
Oh, wow. Let there be no doubt that you work in advertising.
See, bullshitting on if anything I have learned is bullshitting on my feed. So that's
but this new Maggi noodles, you won't be able to make it up on the spot.
Oh, wow, well done. Okay, on that note, we will now move to my prediction, which is Google will own a stake in Snickers by 2030. Hey, we seem to be going food company by food company. Google will own a stake in Snickers.
Actually, interesting. Okay. Food. Wow, dude, like there's a major troll that's coming here which says Naren looks like the youngest guy in the presentation.
Oh, I think he means in the emoticons that we have.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Actually, that is fair.
Yeah. Okay, Google will own a stake in Snickers by 2030. I'm just saying the question again because I don't have an actual answer. So go ahead.
Well, I would say that there is, the entire. See, the coronavirus will eventually evolve and it's mutating, right? It's mutating all the time, right?
Yeah.
So, because coronavirus is mutating all the time, it will eventually slowly, like, if anyone's played this game called Plague.Inc., which is one of the most fascinating games that is there, it actually allows you to play as the virus and how would you kill the whole world, and it's pretty fascinating. So anyway, the whole way the virus would like kind of mutate into eventually turning people into zombies and vampires, right? So now there will be like vampires all around, and the one of the weird mutations of coronavirus will be that it will start infecting food items, specifically food items with nuts in them. So therefore, Snickers will become one of the top ways that people can turn into vampires and get coronavirus. So because of which, what will happen is that anyone who eats Snickers will turn into a vampire. The only way to prevent that, as Buffy the Vampire Slayer tells us, is to drive a stake into the vampire. And so then, you will need to stab the Snickers bar with a stake. And since it is arriving at this conclusion will take a while, it will take time till 2030 to do that.
Shriketh, you've been reaching for the bad part of the bar today, haven't you? Are you sure that's what
I think great points for effort, I think.
I think that could be the tagline for Simplified.
I think this is inverse funda of the Maggie thing. Basically, like people want to eat quickly but nutritiously. And all companies will go out of money, and Google and like only the tech guys will have enough money. But food is also essential. So food and tech are the last things remaining, and Google will buy a stake in Snickers by 2030.
So you have, in calculus, you have this thing called UV substitution, where you want to integrate something and it's not integrating very nicely. So you substitute one of the terms with one variable called u, and then you find the derivative of that variable, and then it becomes v u du, and then you integrate that, and okay, whatever. So now if S is Shriketh, then our u is Shriketh, right? So Knickers is Knickers. So Google will own a stake in Shriketh's Knickers by 2030. Yeah. Which means there'll be a lot of stuff to search for in Shriketh's Knickers. So whatever he's up to in KL, we don't know, but it will result in a lot of stuff being searchable in his Knickers. So maybe that's why Google.
Are you saying this is? You said KL Sriket Snickers, like, are you working your way towards KLPD? Like, is that...
Oh my God.
Okay, I couldn't think of anything more random.
Sriket, 2 minutes for a counter.
Just thinking, oh man, somebody will be searching in my knicker. Yeah.
I don't think anyone has thought so much about either about myself, my knickers, or KL that much.
All of you are wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was the closest.
Yeah, you were. You were the closest to something. Okay. Hearteningly, a lot of pet adoptions are happening right now, and I will switch on my light after this. I realized I was getting a lot of pet adoptions are happening right now, which is a good thing. Like shelters in the US are empty, and even in India, like I read an article about dogs being adopted and all that. Now, the thing is, in 10 years' time, in 2030. Years old, right? 11 years old. So health tracking will anyway become extremely important, right? Like all of us will go out and buy, whatever wearables, they will also evolve, etc. Pet health tracking will become important by itself, right? By the mid of the decade or something, as people realize, oh, my animals are getting old, so they don't want to track their health and all. Also. Now, who are the companies who are likely to do it? Like Tony said, it is like the tech guys will be big and they will be around, so it's likely to be one of them. Microsoft won't do it because they've never done anything with respect to stuff like this. Apple also quite unlikely to get into animals and stuff like that. Amazon might do it, but Google is most likely to do it. And Google, when they make hardware, they usually it's like Google also does that 3D animals thing. So they've done stuff with animals before. All their innovations and new lines are acquisitions by nature. So they will look for somebody who has deep expertise of animals and their health, and they anyway already have Fitbit for wearables. So they will buy a stake in Mars Foods, which owns both Whiskas and Pedigree. Who better to know about animals and their health than the biggest cat food brand and the biggest pet food brand in the country? Mars Food is the parent company of not just Whiskas and Pedigree, but also Mars, Snickers, Bounty, and a whole bunch of others. This is why Google will end up owning a stake in Snickers.
You gave up three The Origin of Things episodes in that answer.
But I think Shriket's answer was better. Wow, well researched, say somebody. No, this is not researched. Not research,
please.
Hint of Toot in the answer. By the way, I did see somebody say Toot is an amazing podcast. Now, thank you very much. We are working on new episodes, and we are waiting for some features to be released by Insider, and we might actually do some live Shive things. So, my God.
We as in the royal we.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
The royal we.
Switch on. Sorry,
the royal V.
I do not know what
V is like, when you refer to yourself as V.
I know what the flying V is, which is a model of guitar that James Hetfield used to use in early Metallica days. Anyway, now we will go on to Shriket's question, which is Amazon will see a surge in buying. No, this is Tony. Sorry, this is Tony.
We skipped one, I think.
We will get there. I think what is the essays that are being written across. So we are even getting comments on our Facebook Live as well as on the chat here. And there are some absolute banger answers in the...
please read while I switch on my light.
Yeah, so I mean, at least we really need to acknowledge. I think one of them was Snickers' latest campaign is to try and save the world. This is by Animesh Das. Snickers' latest campaign is to try and save the world. What's Google's larger ahem purpose? Own the world. But you can't have a savior, so Google battles Snickers, and finally, after defeating it, to ensure the most humiliation, it owns controlling stake in Snickers. Like, I mean, there's a lot of thought behind a lot of this nonsense. Like, I think it really needs to be acknowledged. I think there are some ultimate ultra-crepidarians in here.
Oh, you said ultra-crepidarianism.
Yes.
People who do not know this, ultra-crepidarian. There are two things you should know about the show. Ultra-crepidarianism is the official word of the show. It's somebody who talks a lot without actually having any knowledge. And who better than 4 male MBAs to actually do that? And the second is, of course, the collective noun for a bunch of simplified listeners, which is an MBA.
And we will awkwardly stop the recording over there because we didn't really take a break during the recording. So I'm forced to do that over here. This is Chuck again. I hope you enjoyed that episode. We had a few predictions in there. We had a lot of fun with the audience, and clearly old simplified loyalists had a blast, clearly. Next week, we will release part 2 of this. Of course, if you'd like to watch the whole thing at a stretch along with our faces, you can hop on over to the IVM social media handles or our own social media handles, which you will find in the show notes. And yeah, we hope you enjoy this episode and the next one. I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.
नमस्ते, मैं हूँ सौरभ चंद्रा
और मैं प्रणय कोटस्थाने।
जब महफिल खत्म होते होते दरवाजे के बाहर पुलिया के ऊपर हम दुनिया भर की जटिल समस्याओं को सॉल्व करने में लग जाते हैं तो हो जाती है पुलियाबाजी।
अब आजकल के अपार्टमेंट वालों ने तो कभी पुलिया देखी नहीं होगी, पर आप फीलिंग तो समझ ही सकते हैं।
तो आइए शामिल हो जाइए हमारी पुलियाबाजी में, जहां प्रणय और मैं एक से एक इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक्स की तह तक जाएंगे।
आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, बिटकॉइन, पाकिस्तान, मेडिकल एजुकेशन, करेंसी क्राइसिस, कभी हम दोनों के साथ और अक्सर स्पेशल एक्सपर्ट गेस्ट की कंपनी में।
सुनिए हमें IVM की वेबसाइट, ऐप या अपने फेवरेट पॉडकास्टिंग प्लेटफॉर्म पर हर दूसरे हफ्ते।
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.